Welcome to This Week on Campus, your weekly webcast featuring news and events at Western Iowa Tech. I'm Isabel Martinez.
And I'm Tyler Euchner. This week we'll be talking about some new events that'll be featured here on campus. But first,
if you are feeling a little bit under the weather, you can now go to a clinic right here on campus. Western Iowa Tech and Tri-State Nursing will offer services for cold, flu, strep throat, STD testing, COVID testing, and more. In-office services are free. It will be open from Monday through Thursdays from 8:30 to 1 in the Kaiser Building, room A212. No appointment needed.
you need some time to talk? Why don't you grab some coffee and get with a counselor? This weekly support group is a safe place to put your books down and decompress. They meet Wednesdays at 10:30 a.m. in the library. Everyone is welcome.
If you're looking for something fun to do on a Tuesday night, I might have the key to fix that boredom. Once a month, the Sunnybrook Church will be holding an event called United for all students to join. There will be snacks and a ton of new people for you to get to know and chat with. You can also join in worship and the message they will be teaching for that evening. You don't have to be Christian to go to this event. Everyone is welcome. The event will be held October 12th, November 9th, and December 7th. Mark that in your calendar so you don't forget. When we come back, Nathan Bowman will have an interview with a special guest. Stay with us.
I've been deployed overseas 6 times with multiple combat tours. I have had a bounty placed on my head by insurgent forces. I haven't missed a day, a beat, in my career. I haven't been in the hospital since the day I was born. Only one thing has been able to take me down: COVID. And now I've done my part to take COVID down, getting the vaccine.
Even though there is so much against us, you will see me wearing a face covering.
And even with my face covered,
you will see me
as a son,
as a friend to everyone I meet,
as a fighter for change,
as a woman who stands up for what I believe in.
So join me in wearing a face covering
to help stop the spread of the coronavirus.
Because this is one small act of kindness that has the power to bring us all together.
Welcome back to This Week on Campus. National Voter Registration Day is on September 28th. Most students here at Western Iowa Tech are of voting age and would be the future of voting. With that being said, I'm here with Iowa's Chief Election Officer, Secretary of State Paul Pate. Thanks for coming here today, Mr. Secretary.
It's a pleasure.
All right. Now, can you tell us what National Voter Registration Day is?
Sure. This is an opportunity for both Iowans and Americans across the country to update their voter registration information and to register to vote if they hadn't. And Iowa, we're one of the leading states in the country. We're always in the top tier of folks who are out there making sure they're voters. And we're going to focus here in September and particularly next week on making sure those folks who need a little extra help are getting it. And we want everyone to be successful at being a voter.
All right. Now, how important is it for young people to register and vote?
I think it's very important. This is the way your voice is heard in our government system. And we've shown again that young people in Iowa get it. We saw record turnouts of young people in 2020, and it was in the primary and the general election, one of the highest in some time. And I think that speaks volumes for the fact that they're paying attention and they want to make sure folks are hearing what they think is important in their government. So this is your first step. Being registered is your entry card into getting your voice out there and being heard by the elected officials.
Now, for like a college student, could a student ID or a student identification work to register to vote? Do you know?
I'm sorry?
Can a student ID work to register a vote?
You need to have a driver's license or some type of government ID to be able to verify a big part of what your identity factor is and to establish the address that you want to register from. That's the biggest part. The proof of residency is what we're looking for. So you can use the driver's license to prove you are who you say you are, but we need something with the address of where you reside at. You know, that could be a bank statement. It could be someone who will testify and say, yes, I know Paul lives at that address. So those are the two components if you're going to use your student ID.
Now, what ways can an out-of-state student register and vote in an Iowa election?
Out-of-state students, if they're going to identify they want to be a voter in Iowa, then they would bring some kind of proof of residency and be able to prove they are who they say they are. And as I said, the easiest things are if you have an Iowa driver's license, but if you shouldn't have to have that, as I mentioned, you can use different types of proof of residencies. You can use your student ID as proving who you are. All these things, you can go right to our website, which is voterready.iowa.gov, and it tells you specifically so you can get that all handled. If you have, again, an Iowa driver's license, you can do it right online, and it will speed it up for you. And back to what I said earlier, if you have someone else who is a registered voter or has an Iowa driver's license, they can testify and speak to that you are a resident and you are who you say you are, and that would expedite getting you registered without all the paperwork.
Now, you graduated from Kirkwood Community College. What are the most significant changes regarding voting since your time as a community college student?
Oh, now you're gonna make me feel old. The biggest one, frankly, is same-day voter registration now is a big plus and helping in that regards. And absentee balloting is much more accessible now than it was back in those days, if you will. Those are big factors. And the fact that we register 17-year-olds now, and if they're 18 by the November election, they would be eligible to vote in primaries. That's a big plus. And because I'm a big believer in primaries, so the fact that that's where your real voice is heard, because that's when you have several candidates to choose from in the field. Because sometimes people will say in November, well, you know, I don't like the Republican, I don't like the Democrat. Well, back in the primary, there were several candidates running either as a Democrat or as a Republican, and that would have given you that opportunity. So the primary is important. So those are some of the changes. And in all fairness, we've got a lot more people who have taken this voting thing seriously. The voter registration in this state is over 90%. We have 2.3 million Iowans who've stepped up and registered to vote. And we're down to where this mailing that we're putting out next week to encourage people to update their voter registration, we're only sending out approximately 50,000 pieces. That's down from 80,000 the last time we did it, which tells me people are registering. We're getting down to the small percentage that have not done so yet. So you can be a leader right there at your college by being out there and making your voice heard by being a voter.
Now, do you see any trends of an increase or decrease in registered college-age voters?
I see an uptick, big time, huge big time. The 18 to 24-year-olds are they're coming out. We saw that, again, as I said, in the primary and the last general election. I don't see it going down. And we're watching here in the next week how registrations go up on campuses. Campuses tend to be a little more fluid. Because some people are moving and whether they're changing addresses within the community they're living in, or perhaps they've changed colleges or something might have along those lines. So it's really important they keep their voter registration updated so they can make it a smooth experience when they're going in to vote.
Now let's turn briefly to election laws here in Iowa. A number of election-related changes were passed by the state legislature this year. Now, do you think there will be any changes affecting voter registration or how people will vote come in the next season?
I don't really anticipate anything in that area. The one thing I can't quite predict, my crystal ball isn't that good, is quite often there are lawsuits. There are groups who sue, and when they do that, it kind of puts some things on a holding pattern, or it might impact it. But at this point, no, I think Iowa, again, is a leader. We've got it under control. I think with the early voting we offer and the absentee balloting process, it's very fluid and accessible to people. Voter ID is there to protect the integrity side of things, and same-day voter registration. All of these combined makes it pretty accessible. And again, people get it in Iowa. They're just out there voting. And what you can help on your campuses is just remind people that your voice does count. We saw a congressional race here in Southeast Iowa that was the closest race in the country. And that race won by 6 votes. So you want to talk about how important your vote might be. Think about that on a congressional race.
All right. Now, is there anything else you would like to add about National Voters Registration Day that we haven't talked about? Or
I just want to promote people to go to voterready.iowa.gov and look at that website for all the questions that you might have. So you're comfortable in both registering to vote or updating your voter registration, or how you can vote. Like, where do I go to vote? What things might be on the ballot coming up? Because we do have city and school elections coming up in November. And those to me are very important. The grassroots, as a former mayor myself, I can understand how each vote is so crucial, and we don't see the kind of turnout we'd like to see on those races. So please step up and do that, and remember that the issues you feel are important and have a passion about should be shared with these elected officials and these candidates, and then you can show your support for one of them by voting.
all right. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for joining us today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
It is important to vote, so please take the time to register to vote. And again, thank you, Mr. Secretary, and we'll be right back with more This Week on Campus.
The day we've all been dreaming of is approaching, when life gets back to normal. But we're not there yet. So please, everybody, do your part. Get vaccinated against COVID-19 as soon as possible, because that's the best way to protect you. Protect them. Protect everybody. It's the best way to get Iowa back to normal. Find a COVID vaccine location near you at vaccinateiowa.gov.
Myth. I can party with people as long as they don't have symptoms. That myth is false. As we've seen, up to 40% of people who have COVID-19 are asymptomatic and can pass it on to others. So I'd recommend avoiding any social parties, especially indoor ones. If you want to try to socialize but reduce your risk, I'd recommend meeting outside in small groups, continuing to wear a mask, and socially distancing from others if you can. Then together, we can keep COVID-19 out of school.
For ways to keep your community safe, go to backtoschooltogether.com.
With the Student Center being more open, Western Iowa Tech is offering fitness classes for the rest of the semester. You can take classes for yoga, taekwondo, super circuits, Zumba, and personal protection. The classes are free if you have a valid student ID, and all classes are subject to change.
The Student Center is now back open this year, and with that comes new hours. They're open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., Sunday from 4 to 8 p.m., and Saturday they are closed. To find out any more information, do contact Mike Brown via email or text.
With the beginning of a new school year, the library has announced new hours. Sunday hours will be 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., Monday through Wednesday will be 7:30 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Thursday will be 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Friday will be 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., and the library will be closed on Saturdays. Library chat will be available during the hours of operation. The weather was pretty nice last week to start our fall session. Tyler Ukner has a look at your forecast for the week ahead.
Thanks, Isabel. Based on Saturday, we'll be seeing some sunny skies with warm temperatures reaching a high of 76 and a low of 53. On Sunday, we will see some sunny conditions with temperatures around high of 85 and a low of 56. On Monday, we'll be seeing some sunshine throughout the day and temperature of 87 and a low of 56. And on Tuesday, we'll get some more sunshine with temperatures at a high of 87 and a low of 59. So starting next week, there's going to be some optimum time to grill and spend time with the family outside while it's still a bit warm. On Wednesday, the chances of rain return, bring in a high of 83 and a low of 59. And on Thursday, we'll finish off with more rain chances and a high of 79. So it's a pretty similar week to last week, I'd say.
Events and information for Western Iowa Tech can be found on their media pages. Just search Western Iowa Tech on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter, and be sure to follow for more updates. If you have something you would like publicized on This Week on campus, send it to thisweek@witcc.edu. This Week on Campus is a webcast from the Mass Communications program here at Western Iowa Tech Community College in Sioux City, Iowa.
New episodes of This Week on Campus are posted every Friday afternoon. For the latest content from our program, please visit our website, witcc.tv, where you can find a direct link to our YouTube page. Be sure to subscribe and have yourself a great week.